Good afternoon. Today's class, I would like to revise about 1848, the revolution of the liberals. 1848, the revolution of the liberals. See, dear students, parallel to the revolts of the poor, unemployed, and starving peasants and workers in many European countries, in the year 1848, a revolution and led by the educated middle class elite. The educated middle classes elite. So, especially, so it was under the way event of February 1848 in France had brought about the abdication of the monarch and a republic based on universal male suffrage and had been so the universal male suffrage had been proclaimed. So it is about actually universal male suffrage. That means about 21 years only the male suffrage means a right to vote. It had been proclaimed. So, in other parts of Europe, where independent nation states did not yet exist, such as Germany, Italy, Poland, and the Austro-Hungarian Empire, men and women of especially the liberal middle classes combined their demands for constitutionalism with national unification. So they took advantage of the growing popular unrest to push their demands for the creation of a nation state on parliamentary principles, especially such as a constitution, freedom of the press, and freedom of association, which were actually completely delayed by the rest of the government. In the German regions, a large number of political associations whose members were middle class professionals, businessmen, and prosperous artisans came together in the city of Frankfurt and they were decided to vote for an all German National Assembly. Are you getting these students what happened? So in the German regions, a large number of political associations whose numbers, I mean the members, so they were middle class professionals, businessmen and prosperous artisans. So they were all came together in the city of Frankfurt and they were decided to vote for all German National Assembly. German German National Assembly. So dear students, after that on 18th May 1848, on 18th May 1848, so they were elected 831 representatives. Are you getting it? So they were elected 831 representatives. Okay, so these 831 elected representatives, they were marched in a festive procession. For what? To take their places in the Frankfurt Parliament convened in the Church of St. Paul. Church of St. Paul. So they were marched. How they were now? It's like what we call the festive processions. For what purpose? To take their places in the Frankfurt Parliament, which conveyed in the Church of St. Paul. And they drafted a constitution for a German nation to be headed by a monarchy but subject to a parliament. Like that, constitutional monarchy. Are you getting now? So they drafted these 831 elected representatives. So they were all convened in the church of St. Paul and they were drafted a constitution. So according to that constitution, for especially for what? German nation. So the German nation, whatever they were drafted, so according to that, so the German nation headed by a monarchy, but the monarchy must accountable to the parliament or subject to a parliament. So our parliament ge uttaravannu needbekagirutte. So when the deputies offered the crown on these terms to Frederick William IV, so these deputies actually they were offered even the head aglike, German nation head aglike, so which was actually subjected to a parliament. So our offer anna kodtara, yaರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ Frederick William IV was the king of Prussia. So ಅವರಿಗೆ ಆಫರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, but he was rejected it and he was joined other monarchs to oppose the elected assembly. ಆದರೆ ಫ್ರೆಡ್ರಿಕ್ ವಿಲಿಯಂ ಅವರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಆ ಒಂದು ಆಫರ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಿರಸ್ಕರಿಸಿ ಅವರು ಉಳಿದ ಮೊನಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಜೊತೆ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ ಟು ಆಪೋಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿ. So while the opposition of the aristocracy and military became stronger, now what happened? So before assembly, the German National Assembly, the aristocracy and the military, so both they were together became a stronger. The social basis of parliament eroded. Then what happened? The German National Assembly, so it was eroded. The parliament was dominated by the middle classes who resisted the demands of workers and artisans and consequently lost their support also. This is unfortunately what happened. No, so the parliament, it was actually dominated by the middle class people. Here the middle class people who resisted the demands of workers and artisans, they were resisted and consequently what happened? So they lost their support also. Then in the end, what happened? Troops were called in and the assembly was forced to disband. What happened? No, at the end troops were called in and the assembly was forced to disband. In this way the elected German National Assembly, it was collapsed. So the issue of extending political rights to women, it was a controversial one within the liberal movement, in which large numbers of women had participated actively over the years, and women had formed their own political associations, founded their own newspapers and taken part in political meetings and demonstrations. So despite this, they were denied suffrage rights, that means right to vote, especially during the election of assembly also. So when the Frankfurt Parliament convened in the church of St. Paul, women were admitted only as observers to stand in the visitors gallery. They do not have any other rights. Even so, for them there was no seating arrangement also. Just they were admitted, they were allowed only as observers to stand in the visitors gallery. So through conservatives forces were able to suppress the liberal movements in 1848. They could not restore the older order. Monarchs were beginning to realize that the cycles of revolution and repression could only be ended by granting concessions to the liberal nationalists. They were understood like that. So hence, in the years after 1848, the autocratic monarchies of Central and Eastern Europe began to introduce the changes that had already taken place in the Western Europe before 1850. They began to introduce those things. The serfdom and bonded labor were abolished both in the Habsburg dominions and in Russia, and the Habsburg rulers granted more autonomy to the Hungarians in 1867 also. I hope, dear students, you may understood this concept. Now, let us discuss about the unification of Germany. The unification of Germany. See, dear students, after 1848, nationalism in Europe moved away from its association with democracy and revolution. After 1848, so already I told that here the aristocratic rulers, so they were trying to adopted so and so things, and then they were understood, and they were brought some of the changes which were already introduced in the other part of the Europe, and even they were given the concessions and all, and even the serfdom, bonded labor systems, all those were abolished also. So because of that, after 1848, what happened? So the nationalism in Europe moved away from its association with democracy and revolution. So nationalist sentiments were often mobilized by conservatives for promoting state power and achieving political domination over Europe. So once again, by bringing a lot of changes, by giving a lot of concessions, the nationalistic sentiments were so mobilized by conservatives for promoting state power and achieving political domination over Europe. So this can be observed in the process by which Germany and Italy came to be unified as the nation states. Dear students, nationalist feelings were widespread among the different middle class Germans, who in 1848 tried to unite the different regions of the German Confederation into a nation state governed by an elected parliament. So this liberal initiative to nation building was, however, repressed by the combined forces of the monarchy and the military. That we know that the elected parliament, it was disbanded. Then after that, supported by the large landowners, those who are called as Junkers. So the landowners of Prussia, those who are called as Junkers. So from then on, Prussia took on the leadership of the movement for national unification. So Russia, it was became the leader of this movement, especially national unification. Prussia took on the leadership of the movement for national unification. So its chief minister, Ottoman Bismarck, he was one of the, actually was used to called as the chief architect of German nation. So Ottoman Bismarck was the architect of this process carried out with the help of the Prussian army and bureaucracy. So 3 wars over 7 years during this process. There were 3 wars over 7 years with Austria, with Denmark and with France. Then finally ended in Prussian victory and completed the process of unification. In January 1817, the Prussian king William I, he was proclaimed German emperor in a ceremony held at Versailles Palace. So finally what happened? So 3 wars over 7 years. 3 wars over 7 years with Austria, with Denmark and with France. Then finally the wars were ended in Prussian victory and completed the process of unification. And afterwards, in the month of January 1817, the Prussian king William I was proclaimed German emperor in a German, especially the ceremony which was held at Versailles. On the bitterly cold morning of 18th January 1871, an assembly comprising the princes of German states, representatives of the army, and even the ministers, including Ottoman Bismarck, they were all gathered in the unheated hall of mirrors in the palace of Versailles to proclaim the new German empire headed by the Kaiser William I of Prussia. So the nation building process in Germany had demonstrated the dominance of Prussian state power. We know that because Prussia, so it was actually taken the leadership of process of the national unification. So in the same way, dear students, so the completely the nation building process, this process in Germany had demonstrated the dominance of Prussian state power, and the new state placed a strong emphasis on modernizing the currency, banking, legal and judicial systems in Germany. So whatever they were followed in Prussia, so they were introduced entire the whole German nation. So the new state placed a strong emphasis on modernizing the currency also, banking, legal and judicial systems in Germany. So Prussian measures and practices often became a model for the rest of the Germany. So in this way, dear students, so under the leadership of Ottoman Bismarck, under the leadership of Prussia, so the national unification, this process it was completed, and so in the 1871, 18th of January 1871, King William, Kaiser William I of Prussia, so he was proclaimed as the emperor of the entire Germany. I hope, dear students, all of you understood. The next class we are going to discuss about the unification of Italy. Thank you. Have a nice day.